Our next presenter, who's been with us before many times, is Matt Gillogly of SRP Medical Marketing. And Matt's going to be talking about some of the strategies that he uses and how he helps clinics go through their Rolodexes, find their patients in most need, and then implement these strategies and help grow their practices, and how it can be very beneficial both financially and as a part of an ongoing clinical strategy. So Matt, thank you very much for being here, and we look forward to your presentation.
You got it, man. Always great to be here at Boston BioLife and sharing these. I love how you and Mike put these Friday events on. I mean, they're always fantastic. And even though I'm not a doctor, I sit here and I listen and I go, wow, I never knew that. Just listen to what Neil was just saying. There's a lot of really great things. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dive right in. But one of the things I have found, and I've been working with doctors since 2018 in a consulting coaching role. I help doctors and practice owners scale up their practices to 7 figures and beyond. And I've owned my own practices since 2014. I grew my clinics from startup to 3 locations in 18 months, doing about $6.5 million a year at 20% profit margin. We focused in erectile dysfunction, hormone replacement therapy, PRP. I sold those in 2017, and today I have partnerships in 7 clinics around the United States. So everything that I'm going to share with you is real life stuff that we're doing today. But you probably already know this already, but it's a challenge to take what you have just learned today from the science side and then take it to go make some significant money, because the knowledge is fantastic. But what we really want is we want to get this into the hands of the patients. I believe that one of the most important things that we can do for our society today is to get our patients this information, and not just the science part of it, but get them taking these treatments and doing these protocols. I myself have been on HRT since 2014. I take, as I like to say, if it's anti-aging related and I can take it, ingest it, or inject it, I'm on it. And, I do PRP, I do it all. So let's go ahead and get started here. The problem with this is that no one ever really shows you how to monetize what you've learned today. What a lot of times people will do is they'll say, oh, go run some Facebook ads or go do this, but it doesn't really monetize what you have learned today. And that's what I'm going to share with you, what we call the 5-day cash machine. And I'm going to give you some free resources at the end of this, and I'm going to give you some free training. But you're going to love this solution because you're not going to need to hire another agency. You're not going to have to run cruddy, or what I like to call crappy, Facebook ads and get leads that don't respond or show. I have yet to meet a doctor, a practice owner, that hasn't been burned by running Facebook ads. You're not going to have to discount your prices to compete with your competition. One of the favorite things is you will spend $0 on advertising and marketing, and I'm going to show you how to make $20,000 in as little as 5 days. I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but I'm going to show you doctors that have actually done it, and I'm going to take you through case studies. You're not going to have to become a sales expert. If you can ask 9 questions in a row, your patient will ask you to buy from you. You will be able to start running this immediately, and you can start getting you patients who are ready to buy. So in a moment, I'm going to reveal all the details to you, but you need to understand how I discovered this unique process. This is a proven system, like I said, that is used in my client clinics and my partner clinics all over the US and Canada. And it's used in our clinics today that we own in places like New York, Florida, Tennessee, Texas, Colorado, Arizona, and California. It works for our clients in places like Billings, Montana, Manhattan, New York, Jackson, Tennessee, numerous places in Michigan, Washington, D.C., Buffalo, South Atlanta, and more. We have done this in clinics if they have a 90+% patient list who are mostly Medicare and Medicaid. So we've done it in rural towns, big cities. I've done it to young demographic profiles, older demographic profiles, low income, high income. This works every single time. This is exactly how Dr. Mark Pietrapalli, who's up in Skaneateles, New York, added over $500,000 in sales to his cash practice in the last 6 months. How Mark Hawaz in Canada adds $25,000 per month. Dr. Mickey Barber in Charlotte and Charleston grew her practice by 25% in 90 days. Dr. Nicole Garcia went from 1 day in her cash practice to buying her competition and 10xing your business. Larry Siegel is a nurse practitioner, funds all of his marketing expense to grow his clinics to multiple locations. This is how he does it. Dr. Kevin Eister paid for the purchase of a clinic. Dr. Kane Lai is able to stay at home and not go into the clinic at all. He has clinics in multiple states. And Trevor Buccieri took a 2-week cruise vacation with his wife and 3 young kids, never checking into the clinic. So how did we discover this? As I mentioned this to you before, I got involved in the erectile dysfunction space. In 2014, we were doing injections at the base of the penis using Trimix and giving guys erections in the office without stimulation. It was wonderful. It was fantastic. But the problem with it was a bit of a one trick pony. And my doctor came into my office one day, and this was 2014, very early on in the whole PRP P shot phenomenon. Okay. And he comes into my office and he goes, I've got a training that I want to go to. I like to go to trainings. I'm very much education oriented, but I always look at any training that I do with a business mind of what is my return on the investment. So if I'm going to go spend $5,000 on something, or I'm going to go spend $20,000 on something, I want to have an idea of how I'm going to make 5x off of that very, very quickly, or better yet, pay for the training before I go. So my doctor comes in. This is early on in the whole P shot era. And Runnels is out there promoting his P shot, and he goes, I want to do this P shot. And I mean, what's the P shot? And he explains it to me: draw blood, spin it, PRP, inject it back to the penis, solves erectile dysfunction, cures Peyronie's, which I didn't know what Peyronie's was at the time. The other thing is it'll help. Sometimes guys see they get increase in girth or maybe some increase in length. And I go, well, okay, that sounds interesting. What is it? He goes, oh, well, we've got to buy a centrifuge, which is $15,000. They give you like 10 free kits. And then the kits are, at that time, they were $450. And I go, well, how much is the training? And he goes, oh, the training's, like $5,000-$6,000. And I looked at him and I said, so let me get this right. This is going to cost us $25,000. He's like, yeah, but I know it's going to work. And I go, well, how do you know it's going to work? He goes, well, because the science is great. And I go, but the patient doesn't care about the science. I said, why am I going to buy a machine? I hear horror stories of doctors who buy machines and invest big money. And look, I know $15,000 for a centrifuge back then is nothing compared to some of the machines that you all have to pay for and buy. And I go, I don't think I really like this. I want to prove that this works. And he goes, oh, no, it's going to work. It's going to work. I know it's going to work. And I go, but you're just basing that on what? And he goes, well, I just know it's going to work. People are going to want this. I go, how are they going to want this? And he goes, well, he's doing a lot of advertising around the P shot. And I go, yeah, but the P shot means nothing to the patient, right? What the guys want, and I'm just going to be direct, what the guys want is they want to be able to have sex. They want to have an erection, right? That's all they really care about. And I said, well, let me think on this for a couple of days and I'll get back to you. So he comes back into my office the next day and I go, okay, I have the solution to your desire. I am going to pay for the machine and I'm going to pay for your training. And he's all excited, but there is a caveat. And he goes, well, what's the caveat? And I said, what we're going to do is we're going to market this to our list of patients. And we're going to explain to them that we have a new way to fix erectile dysfunction and that it can see an increase. They're going to be able to respond more naturally. They might, in one of the side benefits is they might see an increase in girth or might see an increase in length, but we're not going to push that. Okay. He's like, well, okay. And I said, what we're going to do, we're going to send it to a list of 1,200 names in our database, and we're just going to email them. And if we get enough people to put $500 down in a refundable deposit for doing this procedure, then I will be able to go in with confidence, and I can go ahead and say I'll buy the machine because we'll make enough money in the first run of selling this to the patients that we will pay for everything and have a little bit of cash left over. And I had to factor in, staff and compensating people and, all the training of the staff and all of these things. And he goes, well, why would you do that? And I said, it's simple. As a businessman, I hate to risk and lose money. I can't stand it. And what I'd rather do is I want to prove that there is demand for something before I invest $20,000+ into it. So we ran emails and we started getting responses back to people. We ran this email campaign that I'm going to show you. We call it the 5-day cash machine. We sent at that time 5 emails out over 5 straight days. And it just asked people to respond back to us if they were interested. And so I had to go on the road. We were working on opening up another clinic. And that's me sitting at one of the hotel bars with Paulina, who was my right-hand person with opening up clinics. And we had just gotten a notification from the team that they had sold enough P shots for us to be able to fund all of this. And what they were was we pre-sold this under the premise of you have to give us a $500 refundable deposit. If we are unable to get enough people who want to sign up for this, we will send you your $500 back. But we need $500 that is run. I don't want the commitment of saying, yeah, I'm going to do it. I want the money in the bank. Okay. If when we decide to move forward, you decide that you don't want to do it, we'll give you your money back. No risk, no harm, no foul. So we launched a new procedure at our clinic. And what we did was, like I said, we sent out 1,200 emails. We got 55 inquiries back. Now, this was not an email saying, hey, we're going to do the P shot and call us if you want to do something. There's a very specific process that you have to go through to get people to respond back, okay? Because nobody knew what the P-shot was, nobody knew what PRP was, and frankly, they didn't care. What they cared is whether or not they're going to be able to have sex. We closed 22 patients in the span of 14 days at $1,500 each, meaning they put the $500 deposit down, and then when we reached the critical mass, we called them and said, we need the balance of your money, which they did. Total revenue collected before we did our first procedure, before we bought the machine, before we went and got training, was $33,000. And this is the process I'm going to share with you today. Every single one of my clinics that I work with, and I work with hundreds of clinics around the US and Canada, one of the main things we do if they are making the move from insurance to cash or they are a struggling cash practice is we run this process I'm about ready to share with you. Okay. And there it is. It's called the 5-day cash machine. You'll see these little circle things are emails. And what it does is it leads to cash. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through. There's 3 steps you have to do in order for this to work well. So the first step is you have to target a small portion of your existing patients and prospects. Now, many facilities don't even know if they have a list of patients that they might be able to electronically access. Maybe it's in an EMR. Maybe they have it in some other database thing. Maybe they do constant contact. Wherever you have it, it's fine. If you don't have it, I'll show you how to very easily do it. You can send these emails out very inexpensively literally for almost nothing to get these responses back. But we want to target a small portion of your existing patients and prospects. We don't want to necessarily blast it to your entire list. We really like to target people that have bought something from you in the past. Okay, now in our case, we had all male patients, so we just targeted the men that had bought treatment protocols from us. Okay, what you want to do is you want to target a small portion of your existing process. Now, I like case studies, so I'm going to walk you through 3 different case studies with these 3 steps. Each one of these relates to that particular step. The first is about Dr. Nicole Garcia. Dr. Nicole Garcia is a single mom who has a special needs child and 2 teenage daughters. I joke to her that the 2 teenage daughters are probably a bigger handful than the special needs child, and she sometimes agrees with me on it. So Dr. Garcia contacts me a couple of years ago. She is trying to make the move away from being a generalist with regards to anti-aging. She was treating men, treating women, doing some vaginal rejuvenation, doing some erectile dysfunction. And what we did was we identified 100 emails. She had a very, very small list. She only had a couple hundred names. We identified 100 emails and we sent this 5-step process to her list. And she gathered $18,000 in sales within. Hers was a little bit longer. It took us about 2 weeks to get this up and running. And it took us about 2 weeks to really kind of just go through the process because she was working also full-time at another clinic. So she only had a limited amount of time to work on this. But we just targeted a very small portion of her list, just 100 emails, and we got $18,000 in sales. Now, here's what's interesting. We kept going back to her list, and this was the primary way that she was able to grow her practice to fund all of her future marketing expense. In fact, she even went so far as to acquire a competitor that was closing their door, and she acquired that practice for literally pennies on the dollar, all because they had a list of patients, and we did the exact same thing, and we grew that practice to $50,000 a month just from marketing this process to the list of patients. Okay, so just right off the bat, first go round, we made 18,000. The best part about this is I'm going to literally show you how to do all of this, what I'm telling you. I'm going to give you a resource in just a little bit where you can get this entire process for free. I am going to give you this process that my clients pay dearly for. I'm going to give you the entire thing for free. Okay. Here is step number 2. Step number 2 is you have to use proven emails and scripting for when the patients contact you. The interesting thing about this is I learned how to do this, quite frankly, during the recession. And in my prior life, I used to go into existing businesses and I can grow a business 30% without generating any new leads. And we perfected it. And what we found was that literally a simple 9 to 12 word email will generate a flood of inquiries. And a simple response that is about 2 paragraphs long, that has no medical information, no explanation of the medical process, will get us people who are contacting the office ready to buy. Okay, so when the phone rings or when they email back, they're asking to book an appointment to come in and meet with you, and or even agreeing to do the procedure over the phone, assuming they are qualified and all of that, and they'll eventually go through your exam and process. Okay, so the second step is you have to use proven emails and scripting. This is not something that you can leave to chance, because this is a very important part of this. So case study number 2 is Dr. Mark Pietropoli, who is an orthopedic surgeon in Skaneateles, New York. He has a massive practice that he does. He's a single practitioner, owns his practice. He's been an orthopedic surgeon for 20 plus years. As you all know, there's a falling reimbursement rates that are going on in every industry. He now only makes $1,500 for an ACL or reconstruction surgery, which he has significant prep time, post time, and he has to pay his PA and nurse practitioner out of that. His costs were going through the roof, right? Because people want to make more money, because the economy, during the pandemic, people were getting paid more, and he's in a very small market. So he was pretty skeptical that this was going to work. We took a very small portion of his list. I'm going to walk you through the numbers. We took 600 names out of his list. I said, just give me 600 random names. All I need is email addresses. I don't care if they've done a surgery with you, if they did the surgery last week. I don't care if they did the surgery 5 years ago. Just randomly pick 600 names. We ran this 5-step process. We had 60 inquiries of people who came back. We sent the response email back to those people, and he picked up 12 appointments. Okay. He then proceeded to sell and make $59,260 in cash revenue by doing regenerative procedures. And how it looked, this was the first text that I got from him. It said, we just performed an $18,760 right shoulder and left knee package. We have a $15,500 similar package coming up on Friday. And then to top it off, I actually went up to New York to meet with him, meet with his team. And when we were there, a patient came in and wrote a check for $25,000 for a bilateral shoulder. These are all patients that came off of his list. Today, he has done well over $500,000 just from marketing to his list using this process. He's making more profit and more money than he makes in doing his surgeries, that we're in the process of winding down his insurance practice so that he can just focus on doing sports medicine and regenerative care. Okay. What I'm asking from you is I'm asking for 5 days of your time. Okay. And again, you're not going to buy anything from me. Give me 5 days and I'm going to give you a proven system that will add over $20,000 in new revenue to your medical practice. I'll teach you how to do it for free. Here's a site that you can go to, but I want you to stick around for this third case study, but it's the practiceprofitsystem.com/5-day. And it's the number 5, DAY, practiceprofitsystem.com/5-day. Okay. Step 3. This is probably the most controversial thing that I have to work with my doctor clients. And that is, in order for this to work, you have to create premium pricing. Now, what do I mean by premium pricing? I'm going to share something with you that is going to sound probably a little radical for you, but it's the truth. Now, remember, as much time and energy I've spent my entire life, I'm 55 years old. I've spent my entire life since I was 16 learning business. My first business was a car wash at the country club. Guys would come into the club. We figured out that we could make money washing their cars while they are playing 18 holes of golf. I've worked in consulting and worked in 30 different industries on 5 continents. Okay. I focus solely on medical since 2014. But I will tell you, I have yet to find an industry where you are unable to create premium pricing. There is a misconception in the industry that you have to offer discounts and you have to have low prices in order for your patients, your prospective patients, to buy. And I'm here to tell you nothing could be further from the truth, because business is run on a concept called margin. I don't have time to go into all the details about it. I'll go through it in the class, but the basic concept is this. Margin is the revenue that you generate minus your cost of goods sold. And I talk to a lot of doctors like, oh, well, I get the kit for $200, so I sold the PRP injection for $650. Or I'm able to get my pellets at $150, so I just charge the patient $350 and they love it. Well, of course they love it. They're getting something really, really cheap, but you're not making enough margin. Your cost of goods sold has to be right at 20% for you to make enough money to pay yourself a living wage, pay your staff, pay your rent, have enough money for marketing, all of this. Okay. So you have to create premium pricing. Let me just put it to you this way. If you needed quadruple bypass, would you go to the cardiac surgeon who was the cheapest? Or would you go to the cardiac surgeon who goes, tell you what, I'm going to do 2 arteries, I'll do 2 for free. You sign up today, I'll buy 2, get 2 free. Think about that. I would hope you would never do it, right? Would you go to the low cost leader for cancer care? Would you go to the low cost leader for anything in medicine? When was the last time that your lawyer ever gave you a buy 1 hour, get 2 hours free? When was the last time your lawyer ever dropped your hourly rate? When was the last time your CPA ever dropped their rate? Doctors are the smartest, brightest, most intelligent people in society. Nobody sacrifices as much and goes through as much training and sacrifices as much time, money, and energy to be anointed to be a doctor. And yet you price yourselves like you're running a car wash in, Little Rock, Arkansas. No offense to Little Rock, Arkansas, or to car washes. Okay. So you want to create premium pricing because, especially heading into the recession, what goes well with if we go into a recession, things that are priced well. And so you may recognize this gentleman. He is a client of mine. His name is Dr. Don Buford. He's in Dallas, Texas. Now, Don started working with me about 75 days ago at the time of this recording. And he is full. He closes 100% of his patients that come in to procedures, but he was stuck in a ceiling, or a max of what he could charge. And when I heard what he was charging, I just about got sick to my stomach. He was charging under $1,000 for a PRP procedure. I walked him through this concept, and literally within 30 days, his revenues doubled to low 6 figures a month by implementing this process. Now, we're not done yet. Okay, we're going to continue to raise prices to get him in line with the fact that he is probably one of the best orthopedic regenerative specialists in the entire country. I mean, people fly into his office from all over the United States and the world. Okay, the thing that I want you to really understand with this is that if you think that your market can't afford a premium price, all the more reason that you need to spend 5 days with me for free. And I'm going to teach you how to work through that. I have doctors that do this in low income South Atlanta, where 90% of her patient base is on Medicare or Medicaid. And she charges $2,000 for a neuropathy treatment and closes in excess of 50 to 60% of the patients. They walk in with literally Walmart bags of money to pay for this because they know that they can't get the kind of treatment that they need from Medicare and Medicaid, and they have a lot of emotional and physical pain. So how would you like me to not only show you how to put this to work in your practice, but also give you all the tools for free so that you can start making money right away? Literally, you can start making money within 5 days. Here is how we will help you, and that's our team with zero money out of pocket. You're not going to have to pay me a dime. You're not going to have to hire an agency. You're not going to have to do any of this. I'm going to give you an opportunity to sign up for free, and here's what you get. We're going to do what's called a 5-day challenge. It's going to be 5 straight days. You're going to get 5 days of interactive training with me, Matthew Gillogly. I'm going to create a private members only 20K Facebook group where you can ask questions. I'm going to give you a downloadable cash machine workbook. I'm going to give you lifetime access to this challenge recordings, so you will have access to them. I'm going to give you 3 bonuses. First is all email marketing materials that you will need to market to your list. I have all of them done. I have them done for regenerative, HRT, men's sexual health, women's sexual health, light bladder leakage, you name it. We have it for neuropathy. We have it for all of them. You will have whatever your industry is. And if I don't have it, I'll write it for you. I'm going to give you a copy of what we call our big money script that you convert prospects into high paying patients. My doctors who use this script and ask 9 questions in a row, no selling whatsoever, that at the end, the patient is saying, how can I work with you? And all you have to do is just state the price to them. Okay. My doctors now are calling this the $1 million script because they're making so much money with it. And then I'm also going to give you an audio download of my book, The Anatomy of a 7-Figure Medical Practice. The total value of that is $997. I'm going to give it to you for free. Why? Why am I going to give it to you for free? Well, I only have a limited amount of time on this webinar for me to share this with you, and I want you to have this. I believe that what we do in our industry is critical to the long-term health and success of people in the United States and beyond. I believe that one of the greatest crises that is facing our country today is the marginalization of doctors and cash-based care. And the reason why is that you all get like I said, you all get as many business classes in medical school as I got medical classes in business school. And by the way, I had 0. So I want to create this symbiotic relationship between the two of us. I want to share with you a little bit of insights so that you can start to make real money, get paid what you're worth, and take time off. So just go to the practiceprofitsystem.com/5-day. It's the number 5. You sign up for free. There's more information of everything that's included on it. you will work personally with me for 5 straight days to add $20,000 in new revenue to your practice, and you will spend $0. You don't have to pay me a dime. So you just go to the practiceprofitsystem.com/5 day, and then I'll finish up here in the next 60 seconds. Like I said, I can only give you a small portion of this, but I have literally done this. Let me tell you the industries I've done this in: men's sexual health, women's sexual health, menopause, regenerative for knee, shoulder, back, and neck. I've done it for long COVID. I've done it for IV bars. I've done it for med spas, hormone replacement therapy, women's hormone replacement therapy, pretty much anything that you can think of. I will show you how to make your message so that the folks understand it, and I'll show you how to make money off of this. And it's that simple.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Matt. I think it's all useful information, and I think your focus is really showing people how they can add these new services in. And I think the idea of being able to go back after your database and to bring those patients into the fold and give them opportunities to try new things and to bring other concepts into their protocols. So hopefully this program gave everybody kind of a high-level overview of all the different ideas